let's do this.
Broken down and defeated, deterred, busy and confused, sleeping. You're dying while I wait you to get started on the journey chosen, wasted, now it's selected. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile. Sober, sad and jaded. Then upcoming, they're broken down and defeated. You are dying while I wait you to get started. You are dying while I wait you to get started. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky, yeah. Push me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile.
I'm a motherfucking unicorn, a one-of-one. The vibe being the love and light, the enlightened one. My karma is interstellar, I live by truth. Fighting evil, my scars are living proof. Protecting you from the storms with all my might. Love me, I will treat you right. You ever cross me, it's the last thing you'll ever do. With my crown of thorns, I'll wreck you. I ain't playing, yo, Ryan Hart, call me a saint. Too bad Chris, because Bigfoot knows my name. I'm a messenger of God, with loyalty I serve. Taking out all evil with his holy word. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand. Slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC. So listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand. Slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC. So listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Hello and welcome to Third Eye Live, home of Mark Eddy. And speaking of Mark Eddy, we're launching a new venture. Mark is great for parties, so call 1-800-RENT-MARK EDDY. No. Only joking, Mark.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Tommy did that the other day. It worked out really well.
It did. Well, that's good. That is really good. And tell everybody what show you were on, so we can make sure that everybody knows, and they can. If you can add the link, that would be great.
It was the Let's Get Freaky podcast. I co-hosted with Tommy Cullum, as we had interview with Catherine Chilgen talking about her Shakespeare authorship controversy.
That fraud. Bollocks! That fraud.
Yeah, 400 years of the wool being pulled over our eyes about who the real author was.
That bastard. That bastard. Damn it.
Okay,
you know what? It's a bit crazy, that whole thing right there. There's so many people that know that Shakespeare, I don't think he could write his way, spell the alphabet, let alone write right.
Yeah. Why is it that the world's greatest author couldn't write his name the same way on?
Yeah, seriously.
On the will that was signed, sign here, and flip over the page, sign here. You can't sign your name right.
I will tell you that there's so much shenanigans going on between that, the fossil record, science, narratives. It's all about control. So watching some things recently about Kincaid and the Grand Canyon. You know what? Why is it that if we did have another civilization here prior to everybody else, just let us know. I mean, I think we can handle it. It's like it doesn't really play any effect on us currently that I'm aware of. Just let us know.
Yeah. Egyptians being here, pretty interesting.
Well, yeah, you know what? They give the Egyptians credit, but I believe there was another civilization that was here, and the Egyptians were like, "What the hell is this?" And they walked up, up on it. I knew a lot about the pyramids prior to everybody seeing like there's something underground there. Edgar Cayce even talked about it, just chambers and whatever. So I just think, because if you really do look back at Egyptian history, the people that are modern day Egyptians that have a direct line to the people that stumbled upon what was in the desert, they never built anything anywhere near the engineering and scale that the individuals that built the Great Pyramids and that whole Giza plateau. So I don't know what was going on there, but my BS meter is just flying off the charts. So, but while we're doing that, I'm going to say hello to BJ, who's here. Thank you for coming. I'm going to scroll down. JV's here from Paranormal Newfoundland podcast. Again, anybody that's an admin and wants to post links to their shows, please. We're all about the love here. That's what we are. Diane Boss, welcome. It's great to see you. She's awesome. Texas Cacti's here. Mark Eddy's here. Look at that. And Karl Sup's here. Half Inch Wrench Crew's here. Go check them out. And also, if you can keep the gentleman from Half Inch Wrench Crew's mom in your prayers, it'd be great. She's not doing too well right now, and we want to heal. So, Jonathan Noseworthy, a lovely man. Welcome to the broadcast, Texas Cacti. We would not start without you. Sansuko, Annette's here. They're coming in. That's because YouTube doesn't really give notifications properly anymore. I don't know if you're aware of that, by the way. But they don't. So the best way to do is like, subscribe, and share it. Share it with your friends and family. We have Wayne from Michigan UFO, and also Think. Hopefully the music's coming along great. I love music, and maybe we can get like an online concert. Undead Jed, welcome. And we have a great show for tonight. We have a really, 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 really great show. Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Fantastic.
Annette Munich.
Yep, she's here. I saw her. I'm just scrolling through quickly. I just want to make sure everybody, there's Annette. I got the notification. That is awesome. Thank you for notifying. And I want to thank everybody for coming in and supporting Mark Eddy and myself with this venture. We're just trying to do a good job, and we want to be entertaining. If you're gonna give us 2 hours of your time, we want to be entertaining and fun, but also informative, and that's why we do what we do. And it's a variety of things, kind of like a variety hour, right? Like, we got a really good shoe for you tonight. The Sullivan Show. But our show is good, and we're going to tell you what's up tonight with Mr. Sup. What's up? But first, we do a little housekeeping, right? So just very interesting. Next Wednesday, July 15th, we are going. Oh, that is wrong one. That's open in your mind. And actually, we'll do that first. Next Monday, from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., same bad time, same bad channel, is Open Your Mind Monday. And it's season 1, episode 3. So we now have the C targets, C01, 02, and 03. We do have a bonus RV target. So focus in on the number 0713 for the date. We're going to be pulling cards. We have, we is me, myself, and I, and Mark comes in every once in a while. We do have mediums coming and tarot readers coming, because we definitely want to give you some good information for your days ahead. And I hope those bells going off that I'm hearing aren't going through the show, because that's my notifications. But it does sound crowded, doesn't it, Tex? Me, myself, and I, we don't always agree with each other. But it's going to be a really, really great show. And then next Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., we're going global with Terry Mosby. And she's a researcher, investigator. If you've been to Emmaus, if you've been to the Crossing Realms conference, she is a lovely lady who does a lot of UFO study and research, cryptids, high strangeness. She has the God helmet. Hey, Jamie. And she's going to be joining us in an all-star cast. I'm just going to put it up. Take a listen, and then we'll get into it. You're not going to want to miss this.
Contact with life not from Earth. Bryan M. Bowden presents, in association with Third Eye Live, Global CE5 Active Intelligent Encounter, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, live. On Wednesday, July 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern, we are coming together for something bold, powerful, and possibly historic. For the first time on this scale, people from around the world will unite in consciousness, intention, focus, meditation, and energy to send one clear message into the universe. We are here. We are ready. We want peaceful, intelligent contact. This is not just a show. This is not just a conversation. This is a global CE5 experience where you can take part from wherever you are. Join an incredible lineup of researchers, experiencers, broadcasters, and investigators as we attempt an active intelligent encounter live. Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, Tommy Cullum from Let's Get Freaky, JV from Paranormal NL, Paranormal Paul from Paranormal Among Us, Andy Booth from Alienate UK, David Salinas from Down the Rabbit Hole and David Don't Know, Dave Ferrigno from Brothers of the Arcane, Mark Eddy, Terry Mosby, hosted by Bryan M. Bowden. Together, we will use consciousness, focused intention, and the power of human connection to reach beyond Earth and invite peaceful extraterrestrial contact. This July 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern, come hell or high water, we are going to make contact. Watch live, participate live, focus with us, because this may be one of those moments people talk about long after it happens. Watch on YouTube, youtube.com/Brian Bowden.
I am actually looking very much forward to this. I have done dozens of CE5 events publicly and privately, and we have brought craft in every time. So it's going to be a great event. We're going to have these sky cameras everywhere, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I think I'm going to direct them to your house, Mark, so because you need a vacation.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So Mark needs vacation. We're gonna take him there. And yes, it is hump day. Thank you very much. A great hump day to all. We're all adults here. We know what that means. Okay, so we're almost done with our little preview. I just wanted to remind you there in the chat is a link to Mark Eddy's book, Lakes, Lizards, Linton, and Leverett, the Ohio Valleys, Antiquarians, and What They Discovered. Yes, it will not be on the final, but you'll be supporting Mark Eddy and his research. It's really groundbreaking, and we're almost finished with book 2, correct? For yourself?
Yes, that is correct.
There
Hopefully
we go.
It'll be out. Hopefully it's going to be out soon. Starting on part 3. So
there we go.
I'm having a good time with it. Lots of photos to back up the points of all kinds of researchers from the last 150 years.
That sounds great. That sounds really cool. So I'm looking forward to it. It's not going to be your average read, folks, but it's going to be good. Mark has discovered this paranormal stuff has rubbed off on him to a degree. I'm just going to say it that way. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, it's not more more of the same. It's just my take on what was discovered here in the Upper Ohio River Valley.
That's cool.
Just trying to put it all into focus. But
change the fossil records and some information, and making people recognize that it's not all outside of where you are. To put West Virginia on the map,
and make connections to other places. Hey, maybe get the same kind of lizards across wide expanse of the eastern United States.
That's cool.
Things like that. What maybe the Dimetrodons were very widespread. Hopefully, if you're walking through a creek or something like that, you find samples of them.
I just think it's fascinating when you find the fossils and other items that are that old, and I just love the history of something. We're going to bring our guest in about 30 seconds, but one of my favorite things in the world was with the story many years ago. Husband and wife were going out antiquing or whatever, tag sailing, and the wife finds a beautiful frame. She's looking for the frame and has a painting in it. I think they paid $5 for it. So it sat in their garage or barn for like a year and a half, 2 years or something like that. And then she said to her husband, "Can you get the painting out of there? Because I want to put something in it." And he's like, "Yeah." Goes in, starts prying out the painting, and something falls out of the back of it. He goes to pick it up. It is an actual copy of the Declaration of Independence. Yep. It sold at auction, I think, for $2.5 million, if I'm correct. Now, my problem...
That
Say again?
$5 investment really paid off.
It definitely paid off, but my problem would be I'd want the document. I need the money. Everybody could use 2.5 million, and that's when 2.5 million was fairly a nice amount of money. But knowing that piece of papyrus, vellum, whatever you want to call it, skin, helped launch probably one of the greatest experiments ever. So that would be really, really cool to own, you know. You can imagine going in someone's house like, and that's the Declaration of Independence. That would just be awesome. But what's really, really awesome is our guest tonight. And I'm actually excited for him to be here. Meet him online and through other shows. And I've seen him on other shows, but bits and pieces. I did not want to interfere with him just coming out and I wanted that fresher perspective. I know a decent amount, but let's bring in our guest. He's the one and only. He's the what's up of everything. Karl Sup. Karl, welcome to Third Eye Live. It's good to have you here
Karl.
finally.
I'm glad to be here. I am
This
so
is
happy
awesome.
to be here. Thank you, guys.
Oh, our pleasure.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
You know, I always like meeting people who are researchers and investigators in this subject matter.
And art collectors.
And art collectors as well.
Yeah.
Because it depends. And I also like the different generational gaps, because they compare and contrast how people are doing it from a certain generational gap to the next, you know, Gen X, Y, Z, or I don't know what the heck's after that. It's probably, you know, Gen DOA, whatever it is, because everything's a little bit different. And I think the older you are, there's pluses to it, because you're taking a more academic approach to things. In my opinion, you're reading more, you're gathering knowledge and stuff like that. And it's very, very interesting. Thank you very much, Jen. Do appreciate it. And it comes in from that perspective, as well as the half-inch wrench crew. And I have to do this, by the way, before we continue on, because I forgot about this. Media assets. I have it here someplace. I'm going to do what BMR does, and we're going to do the...
Welcome to Third Eye Live and Super Cougar. Get ready for the wildest adventure. Whoa! Hear that growl? Press start to play now.
We do that. I kind of took it a little bit from BMR, who's a buddy of mine, and Fades made that for me. She did that one and a gator one, because I'm in Florida. And when I talk about cougars, Karl, in Florida, I'm not talking about the four-legged ones as much as the two-legged ones that are around the place.
Hey, we have Scottsdale, Arizona here, you know, and so.
You understand, sir. But, you know, the academic portion to the program versus now, like, as we've gotten more technology coming forward, people have adapted it. But I think now in this era, last couple of years, once they started doing like Photoshop, like, oh, they Photoshopped that. From that point forward, there's some people still doing great research, but some of the younger people, oh, that's AI, that's Photoshop. I literally showed a friend of mine, his kids, because they know what I do. And she goes, have you ever seen an alien? I'm like, yeah, I have. And I sent them, this is my idiot friend that keeps calling. And I showed him pictures. I have actual photographs, some of which were sent to me by all zero numbers, of, you know, chart aliens and whatever. And they're like, AI. Oh, that's AI. That's computer generated. And I'm like, no, bro, it's the real deal. But then again, they're younger kids and everything's AI. So when you come through, it's really refreshing. So for everybody that does not know who Karl Sup is, can you give us a brief background, and then we'll get into you brought some sounds and pictures. I definitely want to hit on that.
Oh yeah.
Sure. We'll
Yep,
bring you to the
absolutely.
forefront.
So yeah, when I was a kid, I actually, when I was about age 5, I actually had well, number one, I lived in a haunted house. So that was always intriguing on its own, but I was always curious. And but at age 5, I actually had a near-death experience. I had scarlet fever that I actually contracted from um, uh, a vaccine that they were experimenting with that included, a scarlet fever thing, but it had I guess there was a live virus in there. But yeah, I remember I met my grandmother who died in 1937.
Wow.
And it wasn't until almost probably maybe, well, no, but maybe it was like 4 or 5 years later, I was looking through a photo album at my grandfather's house, and that was the first time I'd seen a photo of my grandmother. And I said, I met her. And my dad was like, there's no way you could have met her, He passed away in 1937. And that's kind of my basis, right? I've always had an open mind. And my dad was, a good contributor to that. He had a subscription to Argosy magazine, and which anybody that doesn't know Argosy magazine, it was expedition unknown except in paper format. Okay. And so it was always an adventure once a month, right, to read Argosy. And February 1968, there was that edition was had the cover. It said California's Abominable Snowman, and here were all these photos from the Patterson-Gimlin film. And I remember I read that copy multiple times, and I still actually, but it was that was always my curiosity. And just it could be possible, but if they do, they're probably in California or Washington State or Oregon. But and over the years, I always was interested in UFOs. I did a lot of research into the Bermuda Triangle. I actually met Charles Berlitz. I was always, I want to say, the adventure, right? I went and I saw Thor Heyerdahl speak here in Arizona. I got to meet him and shake his hand, get his autograph, and etc. But and if anybody doesn't know who Thor Heyerdahl was, he ran the Kon-Tiki, where he actually brought, sailed a ship from the Polynesia over to South America. And then he also did the Ra expedition going from Africa across the Atlantic in a papyrus boat. So, I don't want to say heroes, but only the adventurers that I always looked up to, right? And I kind of leave that hero thing to our great people in the armed forces. I mean, my dad was one of them, and he actually was one of the liberators of Dachau concentration camp. So, it's I'm very proud of that, and he was a medic as well. So you can imagine being a medic at the at Dachau. But I've traveled.
That's great. I mean, like, sidebar on that. Was he ever interviewed by Steven Spielberg when he was doing the Showa stuff? No, not just the survivors.
I wish he had passed away in 1978. But I've kind of picked up the mantle. I'm included in the 20th Armored Division. As a descendant.
Right.
And
no,
so
good.
I
keep the torch going.
In touch with them, and exactly. So, but So, and then after he passed away in 78, I did a lot of camping, a lot of hiking, all in and all around Arizona, every corner. There's hardly a canyon I don't know or hasn't seen my boot print in. And but 1982, I was camping up on the Mogollon Rim, which is a large escarpment that pretty much cuts Arizona in half. But about half of Arizona is forests. A lot of people don't realize that, but
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In fact, we have the largest stand of ponderosa pines in the world in Arizona.
That's the northern part for the most part. It's the upper
part
of the state,
correct.
right?
And then in the southern part, there's what they call sky islands, which are all mountain ranges that, from their elevation, escape the desert. And there's, as the deserts moved in, a lot of the went up in, up those, stayed up those peaks. And in fact, the sky islands of southern Arizona actually allow a biodiversity of unique species, because a lot of those species, like for instance on Mount Graham, the Mount Graham red squirrel is unique to Mount Graham, and it's just evolved over the years where because they couldn't transit from one mountain range to the other through the desert without dying, so they got isolated. But and I'll get back to Mount Graham later. But 82, here I am up on the rim. I went a friend that had a Zodiac, and we paddle across the lake, and there was 3 of us, and we get over there, we catch some trout, we cook them, we set up a tent, and ended up going to bed later, right? And but 3 a.m. in the morning, we get woken up out of our sleep by something that howled just incredibly loud. And of course, 1982, we didn't have a thing called subwoofers or whatever else, but you could certainly feel it in your chest, and loud enough that the 3 of us pile out of the tent in pitch black darkness and trying to decide if we just leave everything and get in the inflatable boat and start paddling across the lake in the dark, or what do we do? And we convinced ourselves, probably, incorrectly, that, it was probably a large coyote, and we ended up, climbing back in the tent and going to sleep again. But, so I wrote that off, right? It certainly couldn't have been a Bigfoot, right? Because it exists. They're only in Washington State or Oregon or Northern California. So,
right. That's very funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2008, I'm sitting on the couch with my son, who was 16 at the time, and a Messing with Sasquatch commercial came on, and I just started laughing. It was the one with the hitchhiking Sasquatch, where they're like, "Hey, buddy, want to ride?" And then they keep pulling the car forward until the Sasquatch yanks him out of the car. But I laughed my ass off. And
no, they're really inventive, great Jacqueline commercials.
Oh,
and they work on multiple levels.
Oh, they do. They do. Yeah. But I'm laughing, and I look over at my son, and he's not laughing. And I said, "Well, why?" And he goes, "Well, it's not founded in reality." And I said, "What? You're 16. Are you telling me that you can't suspend disbelief in order to laugh at, some humor?" And he says, "Well, Dad, they're not real." And I said, "How do you know?" Right? So I tell him the story from 1982, and he says, "Come on, Dad, in Arizona?" And I go, "I don't know. I hadn't thought about it since then." Right? So
right.
I looked it up online, and we landed on the bfro.net website, and sure enough, here's a bunch of reports from Arizona, right? So we read through all of those, and then I see a link to what's coined as the Ohio howl, which is a big, long male Bigfoot howl, and I listened to it, and all the hair stood up on my arm, because that was the second time in my life that I'd heard that howl, and suddenly I remembered from 82. I was like, oh my gosh. And so my son's like, "Well, maybe there is something to this." And I said, "Well, look, there's an expedition in 3 weeks. Let's sign up. Worst case scenario, you and I get some camping time out in the woods, and we hang around with a bunch of crazy people." Right.
Yep.
And I said, "Or maybe we'll learn something. Maybe we'll experience something." And he's like, "Okay." So we get up there, and Matt Moneymaker was actually running that expedition. We get into the woods that first night. Well, the first thing I learn is they're omnivores, right? Well, just throw Harry and the Hendersons out the window, right? So I'm like, boy, I hope my son doesn't get eaten, yeah.
People just
so
they really
so we get up
think,
there, and go ahead.
I mean, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe Harry and the Hendersons gave people the wrong idea. This is some kind of animal, but it's an apex predator. It's not there to be your buddy. I mean, if you're lucky, don't think you're going to take one home and rehabilitate it and have a pet Bigfoot. It doesn't work that way. They're not grass eaters. They will eat humans too. But continue, please.
Yeah, but yeah, no. It's so that very first night, from a ridgeline where there had been an encounter just a week prior, Matt stays on that ridgeline. He does a howl, one of Matt's howl, and from the due north, we hear a return call, almost return howl, probably 2 seconds after he howled, and then about 2 or 3 seconds after that, another howl from the northwest at a further distance, and then about 6 or 7 seconds after that from the southwest, a very distant howl. But yeah, so we heard 3 return howls from that, and that was the moment being scientific guy, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what's going on here, right? And of course, my son's in the pitch black darkness, standing there in the dark with me, listening. And when he hears those, I swear I thought he was going to pop my shoulder out of my socket, because he had his hand on my shoulder. He was just like, whoa, But yeah, that kind of led me on that journey, and I never expected, for sure,
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting way you got started, to be in the woods and like, nah, it's probably nothing. Let's go. And, this is the problem of knowing too much, right? You can't, you can't put your head back in the sand. You just know too much. But yeah, it makes it difficult. So it's
extremely hard to break a paradigm. Yeah,
it really is. And then also throw on top of that the human condition. Oh, that's not real. That's not, oh, that's imagination. Trying to scientifically or pseudo-scientifically put stuff away. It's mind-boggling, especially when, I've done investigations and we're having activity and they're like, oh, that's someone in the woods doing it. Yeah,
exactly.
But
In fact, we're. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
But what you heard in Arizona is the same thing that was the Ohio howl. That. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's long distance between Ohio and Arizona, but you're getting basically the same sound.
Correct.
That should that should give you a little bit of validation of, even though you may not have seen the animal, there is a similar species. You should be able to draw some kind of conclusion on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, from a scientific perspective, that that really lends extreme credence, just like the when I've experienced infrasound in the woods on a lot of my work, and in actually on when I was, so I travel a lot for work. I'm a tech guy, so I get sent to different cities a lot, and sometimes I get sent to the same city week in and week out, right? And that was pre-COVID. I did that all the time, right? And one of those was, flying Phoenix to JFK Airport every single week for almost 2 years. And so as I'm out in, I'm like on Long Island, I'm like, I want to figure out where they could be, because hey, there's a lot of woods out on Long Island, right? And I get I start looking at reports, and then the last report I found was 1899 from Rockaway Beach. And that I'm like, okay, and it talks about a hairy wild man, and that was spotted on the beach, and etc. And it was so I'm like, well, that doesn't narrow it down. So I spent quite a bit of time, kind of just going to different areas after I got off work, and and looking in those areas, trying to find structures or hear something or do and really didn't have a lot of luck. And then I decided, you know what, I will leverage paranormal research websites, so ghost hunting websites, and
Right.
and so I went out there, and I found several reports of haunted woods, where these haunted woods, the mournful cries of a woman whose child was lost in the in 1650, and she howls and mourns for her child in the woods. Or we went there to investigate, and we saw red eyes that were hovering in the air towards us, or rocks appeared out of thin air. And I'm like, well, that's a Bigfoot,
Yep.
So
That is.
started going to those areas, and sure enough, I started interacting with a clan of them there. So and that was a long time. That was almost probably a year and a half of
When was the
back and forth.
when was your first interaction with them? Like what year, if you can recall again?
My first interaction with them, that was later in 2008 when I had my first interaction.
Something's very interesting is Long Island is an island, and
Yep.
it's like, how did they get there? Where are they there? Because it's pretty
Yep.
decent sized, but there have been reports in all over Long Island, which is not unusual for a large sized creature like that to have a 200-mile radius, hunting zone, or 150-mile radius. I mean, you could easily do it, but it's they got to cut through some areas that are high population. But
I found the areas where they actually had like egress ingress routes where they could get into certain areas that were all wooded, certainly
Right.
at night without or with very little. Even the Northern State Parkway, they were transiting in the drainage
Really?
pipes that ran underneath it. Yep.
That is
found evidence of
interesting.
that. Yeah.
That is really interesting.
That did not smell good under there. I was I'll just put it that way. I thankfully had brought some get dirty clothes that I packed along in my car. But they could transit north and south and get up to the North Shore, and they are very good swimmers. And I have no doubt that they actually will swim across the Sound up to Connecticut or Rhode Island right there.
I mean,
without a doubt.
that was an assumption, because there's some other people I know from Long Island, and they do the Bigfooting, and the only way I'm thinking they don't like to be in the spotlight. They don't want to be seen. They do a pretty good job at hiding themselves. I still we'll get into that later on. Yeah, I believe they can go interdimensional, and then they can also don't have to swim. They can go from point A to point B if they open up the right, porthole.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mark.
Brian. Yeah, if you remember when Max Hawthorne was a guest, he spoke about seeing swimming or bathing Bigfoot. So Carl's story,
Separate party, it correlates.
corroborated with another guest.
100%. And it's also the experience. You're having these experiences. So correct me if I'm wrong, but when you have newer experiences, it answers about 2 or 3 questions, but gives you 7 more. Am I close?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was really on Long Island where I kind of ended up formulating, putting this formula together of, how do they get there? Why are they there? You answer all these questions, right? And then that really makes sense. And it really shows you where they are, why they're there. And like I said, about a year and a half, there was gifting going back and forth with apples.
Right.
And they would leave me gifts in return. Initially they didn't. And then they started leaving me little polished rocks and feathers and fossils and, I have quite the collection here at the house, but,
yeah,
they're dear to me, right? Because, it was really that exchange.
When you're first interacting with them, what was the, have you seen them up, like up close or fairly up close? Okay.
Very close.
I just wanted to, same here. The closest I've been to one is no more than 6 inches.
Wow.
And that was northwestern Connecticut. Yeah.
You've got me beat, but mine was about maybe 16 inches. So
that's these are close moments.
That's close enough.
One of the guys I interviewed is also a brother of mine. His name's Andre Verge. And I'm going to see if Andre would come back on. He used to be a police officer in Jersey. He moved from Jersey to, I think, PA. He's Native American. He's had interactions with these Bigfoot for years. His kids like, Dad, you're crazy. Dad, BS. And they are very brazen. They would come to the window and the door, and the kids would see him. Oh, that's a costume. And I said, well, when did your kids finally wake up to it? And they go, they had a couple of up close encounters through windows, and they're like, there's no zipper on this thing. They could see so that's where it changed. But Andre, I'm reminded of what Andre being out on his porch. This happened twice with the same Sasquatch, because I think they followed him. When he was in New Jersey, it happened. And then he happened again 200 miles away in PA. He's on his porch, and he knows he can feel this thing coming up behind him. And it's so close to him, it blows on his back of his neck. And he's like, he goes up, and he kind of turns around, and it skirts out, but he sees it running. That's close, folks.
It is.
And when
close.
you have that interaction, what I was going for is, did you start getting nervous, or were you kind of like, okay, stay calm here?
No, so going all the way from 2008 onward, right? I probably after the BFRO expedition that year, I probably went out in the woods 6 times. 6 weekends where just looking, trying to use those techniques and stuff, and was getting all kinds of interactions, right? And it wasn't, and I'd take my kids up, and
I think we're having internet-based issues. Yeah.
There's an issue here.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little lagging. I'm directly in, right at the internet, but
we can hear Carl. His screen froze.
I'm frozen.
Your screen froze for a second. You want to go out and come back in, and we'll pop you in?
Yeah. Because on my side, I've got a black screen with a white bar flashing. So
no problem. So exit, and we'll bring you right back in.
All right.
Yeah, and then we'll bring you in. I'm just
all right.
Put
Sounds good.
Up. Okay. Or I can remove you, and then we can do it that way. Whatever.
I'll be right back.
Sure. There we go.
Very interesting experiences.
Right now, yeah. And if anybody else having issues, I don't know what the storm situation is over certain parts of the country, but if you're there, yeah. And Carl's back.
There I
Welcome
am.
Back. Right. Yeah, BJ said, "Oops, frozen. Bring out the heaters." So, yeah.
Not today in Arizona. I think it was got up to 113 today. So,
yeah, are you in the northern
Hey.
portion or the southern portion?
in the southern portion. I'm in the Phoenix metro
Phoenix
area.
Okay, yeah. Phoenix metro. Yeah, I got accepted to the University of Arizona, and I never believed the it's a dry heat until I went to Tucson, and it literally is a dry heat. It's kind of hard to explain.
It feels
and
good.
That was, when you play, yeah, it does feel pretty decent. It could be 120, and you're like, yeah, I could wear jeans and a shirt. And that was the first time I've ever understood Purple Mountain's majesty, because the mountains that surround the area look purple. You have your mind blown every once in a while when you travel. Like, I went through Chattanooga, Tennessee. I've read about Chattanooga, Tennessee. I thought it was a cool name, but the first time I went through it is when I went and did the Crossing Realms conference, which was last September, I believe. But Marcus commenting on your interactions with this creature. So it really starts, with the exception of the near-death experience, it's really starting with cryptid work, correct?
Correct. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I wasn't a kid and had a sighting or anything like that, but I had an open mind, and I was like, well, it could be real. I just never spent a lot of time looking into it. So anyway, by 2009, I've already had probably 6-8 encounters already where they were up close, growled, threw rocks at me, threw sticks, the last time I checked, but bears can't throw rocks, but as everybody always likes to say, oh, it's a bear, and it's like, no. But the funniest one was in early 2009. I think it was May. I was up in an area just below the Mogollon Rim, in foothills, and there's a cave system there, and I was investigating the caves because I have articles actually on BigfootEncounters.com. I now manage. That's the life's work of Bobby Short, and I'm honored to have kind of inherited the website. So I'm there, and I find a rock that had been broken on another rock. Now, we had a big monsoon, a storm that had been up in the high country there that dumped a lot of rain, and in fact, there were still some muddy areas in nearby, but something had taken a sandstone rock, broken it on this rock of the cave, and then taken one of the sandstone pieces, which is kind of like a reddish orange color, and used it and scribbled with it on the rock. Right. And I knew that it had happened recently because there was still all the fine particles were laying on top of the rock from the thing, which the rain would have washed away. But it was intriguing, right, to see actual, like, I'll say artwork, right? Tool use. And I end up finding down below the cave system a 16-inch print that was absolutely perfect. 5 toes. The depth was probably a good inch or inch and a half deep in pretty hard pack. Arizona is, notorious for hard pack. It's hard to find prints. So I was super excited, and I had casting material in my pack and everything, but I get out my measuring tape, and I'm taking photos, with the tape measure on the print and width, and measuring the ball of the foot, but it was basically 16 by 5.5, 6 inches. Okay. And it was pretty consistent along the whole edge. And as I'm taking these photos, I'm bent over, I'm by myself, and all of a sudden I hear this big thud, and I'm to my left, and I look up, and about 20 feet away from me, there's this big rock just bouncing, and my brain immediately tracks the trajectory from that, and it goes up the hill towards the where the cave system was. And I didn't see, wasn't anything up there that I could see, but if it was, it would have been just over the crest where, being hidden. but that rock was big and heavy, and I reasoned that if it really wanted to beam me, especially since I was in such a prone position on the ground,
Right.
they could have beamed me with it, and it was get out of here. And I only escaped there with photos of that print, but I said I'm sorry, and I walked away. And the more I do research, the more I realize they're really more like us, right? And I know you said animal earlier, but
it's not a classification. I didn't want to use the term animal, but it's a species. Well, is that a better term to use?
Yeah.
Species would be better. Yeah.
Yeah, but they are like us, and I've asked them to do things in English, and they've done them. So they absolutely have an understanding, whether or not that that understanding is from true language recognition, or whether or not it's something at a more psychic level where that translates, or feeling. I don't know, but when you ask when you feel like you're being watched all evening around the campfire from a hillside, and you just before you go and climb in your vehicle to go to sleep, and you pause and you said, I would love it if you could come down and put a handprint on my car.
Okay.
And then I went to sleep, right? I climbed in, went to sleep, and I wake up at 3 a.m. and here's this, and I moved, and my Fitbit kind of ended up, with a green light leaking out from underneath my arm as I moved, as I woke up, and it illuminated the inside of the cab, this face right on the window, and that's about 16 inches from my face. So
yeah,
I'm looking right at this face, and as I focused on the face, he just backed away into the darkness, and just kind of faded out. And so I propped up and I looked outside for quite a while, trying to see if I could see movement or whatever, and I didn't see anything. But at 5:15 a.m., I wake up at pre-dawn light, and there's this handprint on my window, which is 14 inches from the tip of the pinky down to the base of the thumb. And you can see the thermal ridges in it, and the tip of the pinky. I think it's the distal flange, the very tip of the pinky, was an inch and a half, inch and a quarter wide. So that's
a big hand.
Huge. It is a big hand.
Yes, that is a big hand. Now, of the things you send me, are one of those images?
Yes.
Or the series?
Yes.
Okay, so
there's a handprint.
Just let me know which one you want, because do you want the handprint one where?
The one with you can put it with my hand in there, but then you show the other one that was kind of undisturbed. But the interesting thing was that it got cold that night, and the handprint was only visible on the window because the how cold it was outside versus me breathing with all the car was closed, right? So that's my hand, right? And I can I can't quite palm a basketball, but I can palm a volleyball, okay? If that gives you a size reference to my hand. But you can see just the handprint there. You can see all the way up. There's the pinky all the way in that mark in the upper right hand side, and you see the base of the thumb over on the left side, kind of mirroring my handprint. So it's it's definitely but the thing is when it touched the window, it actually left oils on the window that insulated those areas. So the handprint was only visible because what you're seeing is the condensation on the inside of the car and what was insulated, which is just a unique handprint, right? But on my friend's vehicle, there was actually a different sized hand, an 11-inch hand from the tip of the pinky to the base of the thumb. And on that handprint it was left in the dust that was on the hood of his Suburban. And you could actually see wisps of hair, and that's it. You can, if you can zoom in, you can see wisps of hair.
I wish I could zoom in.
Oh, That's okay.
Let
But
me
you
try
can
it.
see down at the bottom. At the bottom, you can kind of see there's hairs
Right.
that are.
Let me see if I can open up in preview or something so I can actually play with it.
Okay.
It may make it a little bit easier. So,
Yeah.
this way I can zoom in on stuff. But let's share this instead. We'll share this screen. We'll share the window preview. Boom. And I'm sharing that. And then what I'll do is I'll zoom in on it.
There we go. So if you go off to the right hand move either down all the way to the bottom, you'll see that the hair is right at the wrist area.
Yeah. And then to the left as well.
And then, there you see the hairs right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it's that was a great handprint, especially since it was left in a different medium, right? It was left in dust, and
originally I thought it was more of a. I mean, if you look at it right here on the screen, it kind of looks like a negative relief. If you worked with charcoal as an artist, which I have, you kind of can see almost a portrait in the actual work, believe it or not. So you got an eye right here, an eye right here. This is the nostril, the mouth area right there, over the right eye, over the left. I mean, I don't know if that's pareidolia, but
I think it's pareidolia because just like you see right there in the center, there's no prints left, and that's because their hands actually have the same cup that our hands have right in the center of it. So So
this is this is awesome. This is just amazing. Highly suggest if you're not using it on the next trips. I don't know if your phone does LiDAR, but
I have that on my phone now. Yes,
LiDAR. Not only can you capture the print, but you get the depth of everything, and you can literally 3D print it all out, and then make a cast.
Yes.
So without having to worry about getting pounded by a boulder.
Well, at the end of this month, the 29th, I'll be co-hosting or co-assisting on the Arizona Bigfoot expedition here, and
that's cool.
What's the saying? I'm loaded for bear. I'm loaded for Sasquatch. So I've got apps on my phone, and
Yeah, so how many different areas so far have you been to that you've had an encounter or an interaction with Bigfoot?
Gosh, so I've for work I've traveled to 14 states. I've had sightings in 4 of those, including the suburbs of Chicago and the forest preserves, and interactions. Gosh, I've had a ton of them. So, my in-laws lived in Iowa, and of course I had to, that they lived really close to a forest preserve. So of course I went down in there, and the very first night I did a howl from there, and I had 3 howls returned to me. And one of them was interesting because it was from an island in the middle of the Mississippi right there.
Oh, that's actually really cool, right?
Mm-hmm. Because the direction it came, there's nothing over there except an island. So I was like, okay.
It seems very unusual that you would have these experiences in the Chicago suburbs and on Long Island.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I struck out a lot, and one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is, hey, I'd go out to dinner with work friends. I'd finish. I'd go back to the hotel. I'd change, and I'd go out in the woods. Or even sometimes when I left work, I'd go out to dinner with them. I went out and I investigated until sundown, and then, so I was getting maybe 205 nights, 220 nights a year in the woods from 2014 until 2020, right, until COVID, and that's a lot of time. that's more time than a lot of researchers have done. So, like I said, I've been connecting dots and formulating why and how they're getting into certain areas. And in fact, I even used that. I had one person contact me once in central Michigan and said, I'm curious to know if you could apply that formula here, where
Right.
are they? Near my house. And I said, well, hang on, what town are you in? What's your address? So he gave me the address and went out there and I looked at everything and I said, if you drive up, and I can't remember the highway's name, drive up to where that highway comes across, there's a bridge that goes across a creek right there. And I said, they're transiting from, point A over to point B,
Right.
following food and everything. And I said, if you go up to that bridge park, I said, go down into the creek bed. I was like, you're going to find evidence. Right. And so he goes, well, I'll go up there this weekend, so he calls me back and he's like, oh my God, I went down there and I found 4 prints down in the, the creek bed. He goes, how did you know? And I was like, and here I hadn't even been to that area. Right. So,
Right.
Especially after Long Island and in Chicago as well, fine tuning that method. I don't even have to go into an area. I could probably look at a map and tell you where they are, especially if you've had sightings nearby.
Well, I was just thinking of the Chicago Bigfoots, and this is the wise ass comic that I am. I'm like, it would be a great color. Like, they're on the outskirts. You guys don't go any further? No way, man. These people are crazy. They got guns. They're just nuts. Well,
it's funny. A good friend of mine was a police officer in the forest preserves there, and they found all kinds of, over the years, he'd find all kinds of structures and stuff, and he was thinking, oh, it's some kind of meth head camping out in the forest preserve or something, and in fact, there was like even notices that were sent out, to people saying, don't make these things in the woods, in those and but of course later on, after he met me, he's like, my coworker's like, he goes, I had no idea. He goes,
it's interesting that people are just clueless that this species exists. But what I wanted to ask you is, because I have an answer for this myself, and I believe something. Do you believe that are your interactions, with the exception of the ones that are a little bit uptight and they throw something your way? Hey, Edward Monge. Speaking of Bigfoot, right there, he just did a documentary, Sierra Sound. Go check it out. Triangle Media, YouTube.
Okay.
God bless you, brother. In general, your interactions have been pretty peaceful, positive, neutral.
So, prior to 2013, there was a lot of rock throwing, there was a lot of stick throwing,
right?
And there was, nothing like bluff charges or anything like that. I've had that, but certainly, it was exception of getting hit with infrasound out in Long Island, and almost that took me to my knees. But I managed to squeak out the words, "I'm a friend," and the moment I'd said that, it was like the weight was lifted off of me. That was one of the first times I actually spoke English and tried that, and it so I'm a huge fan of that. But
right.
Other than that one example, prior to that, there was always, I want to say, just kind of like get out of my living room kind of attitude.
Right.
And but I was really applying more of the techniques, with the BFRO, doing a lot of howls, a lot of whoops, calls, tree knocks, etc.
And you had the rock
rock
thrown over the hill at you.
I've had a boulder thrown at me too. It's very interesting.
I had a 75-foot ponderosa pine shaken probably 20 feet away from me, which when you
Okay.
see the crown of a
Jesus.
75-foot tree just going like this, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a short changer.
So,
But
so it was just, but it was a sudden, just saying, announcing that you're a friend seemed to bring all that to an end.
well, it at the for the with the infrasound encounter, but so I'll tell the 2013. I was helping out on the BFRO expedition in Arizona. Actually, I think that was the last one that I'd helped on until this year. So it's been 13 years. But I I went. I had gotten up there late. It was actually Mother's Day weekend, and the area that we were doing research in had just opened up because of all the heavy snowfalls. They don't let people go up there. That rips up the roads and everything. So
Right.
so they wait until everything dries out a little bit and then open up the roads. So we're back in there. I'd gotten up, kind of was last one pulling into the campsite, and where I pitched my tent was right on the edge of this campsite, and so I was maybe like 10 feet from where the woods started, right? Otherwise it was pretty open area, and that night we did all of the usual stuff, right? And I'm a pretty good howler, I'll put it that way. I get out there. It would be hard to distinguish me from a Bigfoot, and I always worry about other people making reports. So
Right.
typically when I get into an area, I drive around and figure out where everyone's camping, and then I focus in an area that's a little further away or where they wouldn't be able to hear me, if I go out there. But I always found that less is more. But that night we did a lot more. There was a lot of wood and stuff back and forth across the canyon, and we got back. It was pretty late. It was like midnight maybe. But by the time 12:30, by the time I climbed in the tent, but I had an air mattress in there, and I went to sleep. And probably an hour later, I woke up because it was so cold. It got down to I think maybe 20 over, and my ears were just freezing in there. I didn't have a tent heater or anything, and because I always like to listen, and
Right.
people with tent heaters, they're yeah, too much noise. So I took my ball cap and put a towel over my face, so the brim of the towel was held off my face and then covered the rest of my tented face, so I could breathe and not have my ears freeze off, right? So I'm sleeping that way, but in order to keep it in position, I had to tilt my head against the inflatable headboard on the air mattress, and
Right.
but the thing I didn't realize was my head was up against the side of the tent. So about 3 a.m, it was like 2:53 in the morning. I wake up and my shoulders are off the bed, and I'm kind of I had suddenly was lifted off the bed, and I realized something was holding the back of my head, cupping my head with its hand. And as I woke up and kind of was like, what's going on? I moved a little bit, and with that, it gently let me down back
That is
onto the air
awesome.
mattress, and you could hear the dermal ridges zip on the nylon of the tent. Now, most people, like you were saying, be terrified. No, I'm unzipping the window on my tent because I hear something bipedal heading off into the woods right outside the tent, and I'm looking out there trying to see if I can catch a glimpse of it, and couldn't see anything. But
that
it
is the
was
response right there, Carl. Right there, bud. And that holy crap. There's a lot of holy crap moments when you are researching this this species.
Absolutely. But of late, especially if I go up into that research area in Arizona here, they know me. I don't even get a lawn chair out of the car, and they'll whistle or they'll do a rock clack or something else to let me know I'm like, hey, we're here. And it's like, oh, and I'm like, hey guys,
But
So
that's what I was trying to get to, and I discovered this through my different interactions with this species. No matter where I am, I don't know. I can't. You know, everybody has abilities. We talk about it on Mondays, and some people are more fine-tuned than not. I will tell you straight up. I know that they're there. I just get this. They're here. I know it. It's a knowing. I can't explain it.
Same here.
I feel it, and I do get a little bit of something. They will, to let you know that they know you're there. They'll specifically pick on something like yourself. So I was in Florida. Someone helped me put up the tent because I was doing some other stuff, getting some firewood, whatever. And I want to go a little bit out or away from everybody, just in case I do snore every once in a while. And though that Bigfoot was throwing stuff in my tent saying, "Hey, bro, I know you're here." So I've said this for numerous times. They and the way I explained it at a conference, I said, just like your cell phone has a unique identification number, that's how it knows it's you. Each human being is made up of electricity and frequency and sounds, and we broadcast a unique identification number. And with that, on top of that, with your aura, which is almost like a visual beacon of yourself, depending on who it is, you have a signature. And when you come into that energy, matter of fact, I'm going to go a little step further. I'm going to freak people out on this one. The moment the idea comes in your conscious, say, "Hey, I'm going to go out with Relic Films and Media, and I'm going to do some Bigfooting." They're filming. The moment that hits your consciousness, and then it becomes the thought, because it's consciousness first, then thought, it is sent to the ether or the universe. And these creatures, species, they get to see that. They know, like, oh, Carl's coming out. Okay, get the bridge mix, get a couple of moles from the ground. We're gonna leave them something. And this is how I explain they know who you are. And they also know that you're not an aggressor. You're the neutral. Like, listen, I don't have to defend my life. I don't want to get hurt. And I don't want you to get hurt. So thank you very much for kind of backing up what I've been saying for many, many years about this. You know,
it's like a signature, but it's not just, it's not quite as in depth as it is in that research area where I've been a lot, right? But when I'm on the road traveling, I'll get reactions, and I get, and it's I'll say more friendly. So I don't know if kind of like I'm marked, right, where they know, and in fact, in Iowa, when I went down there and I did those howls and we got 3 calls back, right, I go back to my in-laws' house, which is only maybe a third of a mile to the north, right? So it's out of the woods, and it's maybe the third house on the street that is out of this wooded area, and climbed in there, went to bed, and in the morning I was going to do my father-in-law a favor and go mow the back lawn, which, if you ever seen, Midwestern grass, right, it was pretty tall, and of course a lot of the moisture, right, a lot of the dew, morning dew. And so I was like, well, I'll probably have to wait until later. So I ate some breakfast. I get out into the backyard and I'm going to get the lawnmower, and I look, and from the woods that was at the back of their property, because they had almost a half acre, that was really long and narrow lot, and there was woods at the back that was actually contiguous, that you could go from that strip of woods there all the way down to this forest preserve to the south of them. And coming out of those woods in a single file trackway, here are these 15-inch prints in the grass coming out of those woods, walking up to the house and walking directly up to the window of the bedroom that I was in, even though there was curtains on the window. It didn't walk anywhere else, looks like it stood there. There was some impressions in the flower bed right that was there, and it turned back around and it walked back out, back out to the woods. But those weren't there the day before, you know what I'm saying? But it was only after I'd gone down there and done the howls, right? And then, but it followed me home, right? And knew exactly where I was in the house.
Nothing wrong with that. Following you home.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong
it
with
was
that.
Not Harry. It was not Harry,
Exactly.
Harry Henderson. Yeah.
Kurt, you're growing acceptance by.
I just wanted to add the other print to it so they can see it.
Oh yeah.
Keep going, Mark.
Okay. Sorry. It sounds like you have some kind of relationship that has evolved with Bigfoot, or word is spreading throughout the Bigfoot, the actual Bigfoot community, that you are friendly with them.
Very possible. I mean,
just listening to what you're saying, it we're going, this story you just gave versus the boulder being thrown at you.
Yeah.
What is it about you that is making them accept you into their community? Is like your Grizzly Adams look?
Maybe. I am 6'5", but I guess maybe they think I'm a kid, No. But that's a great question. And I know that I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'm going to get that answered. Ask. Especially with some of the knowledge I now have that I ended up using in Southern Illinois recently. Actually, in 2019 was that event. But I've always been a big flesh and blood guy, and in fact, I did collect some blood samples that are actually at the DNA lab right now. Which should full genome workup and a full trait workup, which
do you think you're going to actually get the results?
That's going to be exciting.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
Yes.
Do you think you're going to get those results back if it tests to be? Because I'm sure they know what the markers are, and they're going to hit it into the computer, and the computer is going to go wah, 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 wah. And some guy, in the middle of the country is going to go, oh no, send a team out to get these samples.
Well, and here's the thing: they didn't get all of my samples, so I still am holding some of the samples in the hopes that we can get 2 or 3 additional labs in order to do those tests. So those results should come out in Sasquatch Legend Meets Science 2 that Doug Haycheck is producing. So
Doug Haycheck, that's going to be good. We had I knew someone that is a geneticist, so they work with DNA all the time. And I said, if I brought you samples, could you do the work? And they go, yeah, I could do that. I said, how much are you going to charge me? He goes, it's you. And we got a long history, and this is what happens when you're buddies. You really, really are friends. Yeah. I'll probably have to do it later at night. And I warned him. I said, listen, don't put this in the main online database.
Yeah.
It's going to flag you, and then you're going to get screwed. Do you have a download of it someplace? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I pretty much have, the database is
offline. Yeah.
They have like almost like a virtual machine, which we used to use in work because they didn't want you going on. I would create a virtual computer on my USB drive and totally bypass all their bullshit. you know, that's what happens when you work with the tech guys, and you are a little bit of a tech guy.
I am a
So,
tech. Oh, I am
yeah.
the original tech guy.
Yeah, same here. I'm
Yep.
waiting, you know, like I'm waiting for Commodore VIC 20s to come back and be, you know, great again.
There we go. Absolutely.
What is that?
Oh,
It's a VIC 20, man. It was the shit growing up. You know?
I worked on those. I worked on TRS 80s. I worked on PDP 1170s, PDP 1130s, which are digital, right? Everybody's like, "What's digital?" You know. But yeah, I was one of the original guys. In fact, I learned because my dad worked for Motorola, and in 1960 he was offered a job at in the computer department.
And they were looking like,
was
what's
it called
that?
IT or anything else? Data process. You know, later on they called it data processing before they called it IT. But and in 1960 he started working computers. So I grew up with you know, punch card dumps. Abin stacks of you know, cobalt sheet. That was the paper that I scribbled on as a kid. You know, old punch cards and everything else. So
that brings back memories, and I'll tell you why. I have boxes of stuff I'm going through, and I opened this box, and in it were my SAS punch cards. And, and a couple of my projects, and some of them were like this thick. It really, like, you know, I got really extensive. You make one freaking mistake, you better hope it's right at the beginning or right at the end. Otherwise, you're going to be going, I hate this so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or COBOL. You left off a period. Yeah. Sorry, you know, error, fatal error. You know, but no, I actually in 1973 at Christmas, my dad actually brought home a Texas Instruments Silent 700, which was really one of the first terminals that you could. It had an acoustic coupler on the back side of it, so you actually would dial the computer. For those who aren't familiar with it, I'm not going boop 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 boop. I'm you know, rotary phone. Yeah, exactly. And then once the computer answered, you put it into that acoustic coupler, and I was playing games on the mainframe, on Motorola's mainframe in 1973, and and then my dad said, you know, oh, you really, you seem really interested in it. I said, oh, this is amazing. This is incredible. You know, I get to see what you do, and I'm playing a game on your work computer, you know, on the mainframe. And he's like, well, you want to learn how to do it? So I actually wrote a Hello World program in COBOL over Christmas of 73. So I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, I've pretty much touched every language, including assembler. So
it's and yeah, I mean, I remember touching not as extensive as you, but I remember doing stuff on the finance and, you know, working for banks. We have to deal with, you know, I built client, I created and built client management relationship machines, client relationship, whatever, CRMs, CMRs, whatever they.
Yep.
And sometimes they want queries, and you're like, really? I got to go into, and I got to sit there and start doing SQL. And I haven't. I'm like, okay, what was it? Star. Okay, star select. Blah blah blah. And it comes back to you real quick. Although, thank God for these developers. There's something called Squirrel, where if you hook it up, it's a free program, and it's and basically you just pipe in the database you want there, and it was one of the first ones, drag and drop, and it automatically does inner outer joins. Let me tell you. And it does it correctly the first time. Huge on it. It was the first real drop and drag. And I was just like, thank you. Free software. Yes. And my bank's like, is that Microsoft? I'm like, the hell with them. It's free. It's open source. We're allowed to use it. But yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
There's another computer person in this chat right now that does a bunch of that stuff. And I posted basically in SQL, from hand, take digit 3. And it's basically giving the finger in SQL. And most people are like, what does that mean? I'm like, forget it. But yeah, continue on that. So
Yeah.
Are you using your computer-based skills in the research of this species?
Oh,
To
absolutely.
advantage?
Well, so I've done a lot of audio work, and a lot of that audio initially I got. Well, growing up, my dad was a big audiophile, so he had. And I know everybody's going to go, "What's this?" But Heathkit. I don't know if you ever knew what a Heathkit is, but it was basically build your own Wi-Fi system, or not Wi-Fi, hi-fi system, and so it was you build a receiver or transfer, and so I spent a lot of time with him at with a soldering iron in my hand, assembling some of the Heathkit things, and so and I just learned a lot of audio tips and tricks and things from him, and later on so I had spent just a ton of time doing that. But after I started getting into Bigfoot and I started realizing, oh, I've got all this audio I need to analyze or clean up or boost or review and etc. I've used a lot of of late, I've used a lot of AI to go through some of my files to try to find things that maybe I missed my first go round through there. But I've also taken files where I've just didn't even listen to the recording. I just ran it through AI, and it came out and picked out like 5 candidates of something, right? And when I go back and listen to those, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's not it. That's not it. And I go, you know what? Let me go back and listen to the whole thing. So I go back and listen to the 6 hours of tape and audio, digital audio, and I'm like, oh my God, there's one. AI didn't pick this one up. Oh, here's one of the most interesting ones was I had recorders set up in this canyon in 3 places, and it actually recorded 2:33 in the morning. There was some elk that were coming down the canyon, and you could hear rock clacks and whistles back and forth. And because of where I had my recorders, they were communicating to each other, and they were on the other side waiting to ambush the elk there. In this area, I've found 3 elk so far that had their left rear leg broken, spiral fracture. So it had actually chased down an elk and grabbed its left rear leg. It must have, whoever killed it, maybe it was their MO, I don't know, but and twisted it, right? Swung the elk in order to break the leg on the hip. So the leg bone just had that spiral fracture in it, which is not natural if it misstepped or something like that. But I've also found deer that had their it looked like a fist had been punched into the chest cavity. So the rib cage was just broken in, but in a circular manner where it had just punched the thing. And at the same time, that deer, something had taken its lower jaw and just ripped it down. So the jaw was barely hanging down, but yeah. So I lost audio here. Hang on a second.
No, that's me. That's me. I put myself on mute because I was coughing a little bit. So that's kind of like they grabbed the jaw and they did a punch at the same time. Yeah. We're still having technical difficulties, so stay with us.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how they do ambush and they do attack. And the brute strength of the species is just, I always let people know that Bubbles the chimp, Michael Jackson's chimp, this big, that chimp could rip Michael Jackson's head right off out of its body without even thinking about it, and just take that and multiply it to 9 feet and think about what it could do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
their strength is unbelievable,
and their speed for this size too which is interesting.
And I've seen one run during the daytime. And I'm telling you, it took off like 0 to 30 miles an hour and like instantly.
Yeah.
Ran perfectly smooth. It was running along a ridge line, and the sun was backlighting it, and the orange, reddish brown hair, and the hair was just flowing. And I always tell people it was like a L'Oreal commercial, with the hair moving.
We're worth it.
Yep, Brian, are we able to play one of the samples?
I have the samples. I was just wondering which ones. I have all of them, so just let me know which one. I'm queuing it up because it's audio. I should have made it into like little videos. The problem that ever since Messenger went into the app, it got out of the app. They don't let you download shit anymore, and they really need to start letting you download it.
I just thought Kurt has some great examples. I just didn't want to run out of time.
No. We're not going to run out of time. I have this, so no problem there.
Not a problem. So I'll give you some back history on this audio, and it was actually recorded on recording devices and also on VHS tape from a site that is in North Texas. The Cells site, and MK Davis, I know, had worked on that on a lot of the video, and he had reached out to me because he was on my group, and I said, hey, I've got audio experience, let me take a look at these clips, and I'll pull the audio out and enhance them so we can hear them better, because a lot of them, either they were very faint in the distance, or there was just a lot of frogs and crickets, or birds or something, and when I went through and cleaned these up, and including one of them where there was a conversation between two Bigfoots, two different voices, distinct voices, and couldn't understand what they were saying, but there was something underlying that. Every time I worked on that audio trying to clean it up, I just was getting sick. And I queasy, dizzy, thought I was going to fall over. And this was really my first experience with infrasound, because the recorder apparently had a baseline of about 16 hertz. But when I looked finally at the entire span of the audio, I could see this modulation that was going on below 20 hertz. So I took that, I removed it out of the audio, and I went back in, and I wasn't feeling sick anymore. So I was like, what is this? I knew it was in infrasound range, but I took it. Yeah. And I took it and I bumped it up 80 hertz. So it's in our audible range, right? And it's safe to hear, won't make you sick. But when I did take that other clip that you couldn't hear, you could play it, send it to the other researchers that I was working with. They said their dogs went nuts. They felt sick, etc. So if you could play the one that says infrasound on it.
I'm looking for the infrasound, and that's the problem with this. I don't think they sent it. I don't think it came through, but I have another way of doing it.
The email had it with the title on it.
I'm going to go look at it right now. I'm going to do my Third Eye Live and get that active. I know the infrasound one is in this. Let's try it with this, and then I'll go check the. Oh my God, where is it? Let me go check my email. I'll just give me one more second.
All right. Well,
I know I downloaded the whole thing. Yeah. Let me see. I know I downloaded everything that was in there, but it had a lot of the word Texas and everything.
Yes,
so I didn't see the and I apologize, but I didn't see it. This is the problem with StreamYard is you want to make a lot of money, build one of these apps that will do the video, audio, video, and put all the stuff in it that you don't have to go
drag and drop.
Yeah, drag and drop. You can just add it. No, actually, in the audio Bigfoot that you just sent, there is nothing that says.
Oh gosh, infrasound.
If you have it, do you have it with you at all, or is it on a different?
I got it on a different.
That's not
yeah,
a
I don't
problem.
have it handy. I'm sorry, but I'll explain to you.
I'm going to try to do
when
this.
Yeah.
I'm going to, while you're explaining, I'm going to try to bring it in through Messenger and see if we can get it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
So I would hope we can get it in through Messenger.
Yeah. So all of this audio really was captured between 2002, 2003, and 2007. And
I'm going to look for that one right now, or at the Facebook one, and I just don't remember which. Is it 214? Hold on. Let me see which one it is. I'm just going to open up this up on my Messenger app. I wish they didn't get rid of this stuff, because they really, pardon the expression, screwed the pooch with everybody on how this should be done. So I'm just going to count down from which one it is.
Yeah,
and
I'm not
see.
sure which one
No,
that
I
was.
don't. Well, let's go through some of the audio ones, and we'll see what we have here. So
actually, it was the infrasound one was the last one.
That's what I was looking for. So I think it's 10 seconds, and let's see if we can hear this. I just played it. You hear it.
Yep.
Okay.
And you can tell it's organic.
I'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's actually very interesting. Have you ever used a spectrograph to
yes,
put the sounds in it and then see if you gotten some kind of message in the color?
Yeah, it really wasn't a message in the color. It just was that modulation, and to me, it almost sounds like a didgeridoo.
Yes.
Except, and but you can tell it was definitely organic, because you can hear the the wavering of the vocal cords, just kind of. But that was, and once I took that out of that other audio I was working on, boy, that worked like a champ. I didn't. Yeah.
I mean, some people here, these guys, the half-inch wrench crew, these guys have chatter from behind one of their houses that is just probably some of the best since the Sierra sounds. I was listening to yours, and yours is really good too. So I have the whole list. I have them on QuickTime, so I can actually pull that in. Is there a specific one that you want me to, or should I just go down the list?
You could just go down the list.
Sure.
And a lot of this audio and a lot of the videos that MK Davis came from that site. I'm working with Chris Reinhardt on producing a documentary that's going to be called The Sometime Place, that should be coming out later this year.
Chris Reinhardt, my old friend.
Yep.
So
this is one, and says the word Andon, which is actually the name of one of the Bigfoots that's on the property. So
yep, here we go.
I couldn't hear it.
I'm gonna lower it a little bit. It was really loud. Let me see.
I can't hear it.
Okay, then I'm gonna go. What I'm gonna do then is, let's go back to the Messenger one, because then it started to work. So we'll end that one, and I'll share my Messenger again, and I'll start from the top and go down to the bottom.
Sure. Sure.
And I think that's going to be the best way until we figure this out. So give me a moment. We're going to go to the top. Facebook, you suck. Here we go.
Can't hear it.
I know.
Oh. Okay.
I can't even make it louder. It's rolling.
Yep.
It sounds like metal.
Yes. Yeah, that was the gate going out to the out past the farmhouse.
That is crazy.
Yep. Yeah, and that one it started out. There's one I know that's coming up with chanting, and that chanting one actually has it was they had killed a chicken and it was laid out and so almost like chanting over it, and it repeats the chant, which is interesting, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you can play the next one.
I'm gonna go down. I think the next one is this one, 135.
Yep. Sniffing the microphone.
Yeah. That was interesting. That snort. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Yep. Yeah, we called that one jibber jabber.
Oh my God.
How many voices were there?
At least 4 that I could make out in there.
Haunted Wrenchku says, this is now my favorite audio in the world. Carl, can I have a copy of the audio? Last thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, reach out to me.
Yep. Well, definitely. I'll put you guys together through Messenger,
Sure.
so you guys can have everybody. It's just, see, we don't play around here. Now we're going into a 20-second file. Let's hear it. I mean,
Okay.
These are great. How about that?
Yeah.
Someone say audio. This is Yeti Audio Labs is also a computer person. She's freaking fantastic at what she does as well. And that was the 20-second one. We're now at 21 seconds. Let's go take a listen. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you give me permission, I'd like to put them into like a little thing with your face on it and your audio. But so I can actually upload it so people that want to like a listen just to the channel, if it's all right. And then I want to draw them back to whatever you want the link to draw them back in the description, because I want them to be able to sit there and put headphones on and listen. Until StreamYard gets their act together.
Yeah.
This one was
wait till you hear the range on this next part.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of people would be running for the car at this point to get a.
Yeah.
That was the range on it was. This is why they're amazing mimics. People don't understand that they can mimic everything.
Oh, absolutely. And I've heard of mimicking dogs out in the and it did such a poor imitation. I laughed, and I said that was horrible. Into the woods. It's like, but that last one was actually the researchers. They had these like 5-gallon buckets that they had mounted on trees, and what they would in like 10 feet off the ground, and they would take these 5-gallon buckets and they'd put like honey buns or some kind of sweets or muffins,
right,
etc. Up in there, and it's really only a place where like a squirrel couldn't get into it, trying to run across that PVC bucket, right?
Right.
And the and they forgot to fill it that night. And that bucket was right near a shed, and that's why you hear it pounding on the shed.
Yeah, don't piss me off.
Where is my honey bun?
It's the food, yes.
Exactly.
It almost sounds like there's almost like a beginning of being able to speak human.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's they do try to speak human. Their pronunciations, they try it. It's very interesting when you hear it.
And in fact, there's I know there's one audio where they actually mimic the homeowner, the woman who would go out in the mornings, and she would go out and throw the chicken feed on the ground, and she'd say chicken, 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 and you could hear. I have a clip of audio where she's literally where the Bigfoot is trying to probably catch a chicken and going chica, 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 but you can tell it's a large. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally different.
So when you think about that, right, that's understanding that if I call and if I say this, the chickens will come, and maybe they'll come to me. That's reasoning, right? That's intelligence.
That is reasoning, and totally an intelligent type of thought process. Something that the Haunted Wrench crew asked Adam from that. What were your thoughts when you threw the audio? When you got the audio and you started listening to that. What was your thoughts on that?
I was flabbergasted, right? And I did clean that up a little bit because there was a lot of ambient noise and crickets and so forth. So, but I'm telling you, that was I didn't. That one was a lot easier to clean up. I'll put it that way. But there was a lot of hours that I spent looking at, listening to things that, either I couldn't clean up. They're very incredible clips, but there's so much ambient noise over the top I couldn't get rid of that. It's I still have a lot of work to do.
I had a theory at one point, because I don't think whenever you're having an interaction with these things and you get vocalizations, I think there's much more than one. I think they're a pod or a clan or whatever.
Absolutely.
And actually, I think when they sense that someone's in the area, they know what cameras are, they know what guns are, they know your energy. I think sometimes that when they're communicating, another one's job is to send out another background noise so you can't listen in on the conversation. That's I
heard there was an argument between two of them they were coming into our campsite, and and one of them did a knock, and it was so close, the stick they were using actually broke, and I could hear it clattering on the road that was near our campsite. And then all of a sudden they got into this big argument, and it was very similar to these, where it was just like, you know, you know, and then there was this other voice, more female, you know, and they went back and forth arguing for a while, and I thought, this is fantastic, because I had a recorder hung outside, but it had gotten down to 17 degrees that night up there on the rim, and you know, and I woke up in the morning, I go, oh, I got some incredible audio of them talking, and the batteries had died maybe 20 minutes before this happened. Now, whether or not it's something from that or the cold, I'm not sure, but
probably a little, you know, from each side. I think they do draw energy from the batteries. I don't want to do it. If I see this, my daughters go 6, 7, and you know, like whatever. But someone asked, the Haunted Wrench Q asked the question, Brian, do you think they understand this? And I think they do. I think they know.
Oh,
you just heard from Karl, you know, friend, and then they stop. Right. I think it's not just they're not reading energy as much as well. I think they're hearing you, comprehending it.
Please put a handprint on my car. There it is.
Yeah.
You know, and the one thing that I was surprised about was that, and I was never in a woo camp, right? I told you I collected blood.
Yep.
I had never had any experience with anything outside that norm. And when in 2019, I was doing research in and around the Alton, Illinois area when I was doing work in St. Louis. And I picked out 2 areas that I was like, I'm pretty sure they're in these areas. And I tried to get over there, but 2019, the Mississippi River was flooding, and and all the backwaters, and there was just a lot of water in some of the low-lying areas. And I went to the first site that I'd picked out, and I couldn't get my rental car, drive it down into there because it was just flooded. And I drove around there, and I was about to give up, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll pull over and I'll do a whoop or something and see if I get a response, right? But then I thought, you know, this is a great opportunity for me to try something. So I get out of the car. I don't say a word. I'm on the side of the road. There's no cars coming by. And I stood on the side of the road in total silence, and I only thought to myself, if you're in these woods, could you please knock? And it was within 30 seconds, crack, this single knock comes back. And I thought to myself, thank you. And in my head, I hear the words, go in peace.
Yeah, they're big on, there's a lot of reports that go, you know, that kind of response in the background. You know, they're not going to have a conversation for 21 minutes, you know, with
no. So I went to a second location, my second location, and it was even worse. There was so much, it was like a big giant marsh. And so I did the same thing. I was like, I'll try the same thing. So I get out of the car and I think to it, and I said, if you're in these woods, could you please knock? And instantly I start hearing something bipedal sloshing through the water, just like, you know, maybe up to the kneecaps in the water, right? So a lot of water movement. And then either it was a very wet stick or a very wet hand hit a tree, and close enough I could actually hear the water droplets coming off of that as it sprayed.
Oh, that's cool.
Off the thing. And so instead of saying thank you, this time I said, what are you doing in there?
Thank you,
and I was thinking that. I said, what are you doing in there? And with that, I hear in my head, catching frogs.
Oh.
So that totally surprised me. And then I reused what I had just learned a half hour earlier, and I thought to myself, go in peace. And I went and had a beer and contemplated on life.
I would have too. I have yet to have what they call mind speak, But I really just think it's kind of like what I do, what we all can do as using our abilities. You're hearing the audio, but you're not necessarily having audio.
Yeah.
It's
right.
just, it's like an
total
automatic
silence.
translation. Yeah. From thought into, you can hear go in peace or whatever. But I
can't explain it.
I think half-inch wrench crew is going to pop out of the seat. So I'm going to, we played the bottom one. We have I'm going to do 20, 21, and 109. Let's just play it because he's going to go nuts if he doesn't hear it again. Here you go. And this is the last one, 109.
Yep.
Is the Chakawea? I don't think we played the chicken. So,
no, do you have those?
I have chicken. Yeah, whatever you sent me, it's just uploading right now. I'm gonna jack this up to about 70, 85%. So here's the Texas chicken. This is amazing stuff here. Yep. You know, a lot of people they don't have the evidence on things, and as far as big, and we're way over time, but I'm just going to tell you right now, you're coming back. If we have to go out to Arizona, I really don't want to visit my brother out there, but he lives in Arizona, kind of near the Phoenix area. But I loved Arizona. I should have went. Oh God, a big mistake. But I got two good kids out of it. Totally different, not Bigfoot, but I definitely like to have you come back on, and then we can continue, because this man has a ton of different research and information. It needs to get out there, and we just don't have enough time. I mean, I remember one time I literally recorded for 6 hours, and it was something we having like the pre-show talk for about an hour and a half. I said, let's record. We did 3 hours. It was from Robert Vanderbroek out of the Netherlands, and we actually had experiments where take pictures and get imprints on the film, and if he can burn image in fruit, it would work. It worked, in my house as well. And then after that, I was talking to one of the guys for another hour and a half, but it was all recorded, and he had alien tentacles. That's a different show. Maybe we can get him to come back and talk about it. But I want to have you come back on because I think we just broached the subject, in my opinion. I don't know about Mark. We don't know. We literally just broached the subject, and I don't do interviews. I want to have a conversation with you like a research colleague, like we're hanging out and having a barbecue. And there it was, a roast beef sandwich in one hand and the head of an alien in the other. I mean, that's what we're doing.
I thought Kurt provided captivating information. We need to continue the discussion.
Yeah, I wanted to get into your remote viewing of stuff because, I mean, I do everything you're doing, I'm doing, and I do, and I'm trying to help people on Monday nights just for an hour, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern, to open their mind and raise their vibration, change their life for the better. So what I do is I set up 3 targets like I have there. We do some tarot card pulls, but we talk about sound, frequency, vibration, resonance. But then we talk about how to ground yourself before you go out there. I actually ground myself before I go, and I cleanse myself before I go into any investigation. I don't care how minimal it is. I used to just go into the woods willy-nilly, and I still do it. You will find a ton of these packets of salt in my pocket. Every time I go in a restaurant, I'm loading my pockets up because you never know what kind of protection you need, on that right there.
Well,
but I think you would also be great to do a lot of the conferences. I know you do road trips already, but you can get some of these conferences. I'll be at the the Tennessee Wildman coming up.
I did the Minnesota conference. Yeah, Minnesota I did last year in October, and then I'm not on any dockets this year so far. So
yeah, I've been on dockets now. I'm like, I'm trying to get to more shows to hang and talk with colleagues, share some ideas. I respect people's locations. I'm not going to go into that crap, but this is how you build family and friendship. And if you have an issue like, hey, this just happened, what is your impressions? It's really helpful. But
Carl, it absolutely is.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we have to go. And I don't want to rush you out.
No, you're good.
There'll be a part 2.
There was going to be probably a part 4. We're going to do that's if Chris will ever talk to me again, but that's a totally different ballgame. But I'm coming up to Chris's neighborhood this weekend to get some pizza.
Oh, okay.
So, Chris Reinhardt, if you're watching, I'll be at ABC Pizza sometime before noon. And I may call you just to be a pain in the ass. But Carl, for those that are in chat, and I believe everybody loved this, that would love to get in contact with you. Where can they get in contact with you? Because your stuff is scrolling on the bottom of the scroll.
Yeah. So you can, I've got a lot of a volume of work on ghosthuntingtheories.com. There's a lot of other great information in there about paranormal and supernatural things. If you search in the search box in there, you'll also find all my articles that I've written over the years, and then a lot of that, either my first 6 Bigfoot sightings, the Long Island investigations I did, which you'll see that I applied science as best you can, and same with Chicago. All of that is out there, but also BigfootEncounters.com. None of it is my content. It's Bobby Short's, and but I maintain that so everybody can use that and refer back to that as a research volume. And I know a lot of hard work went into publishing her life's work in the book called The De Facto Sasquatch, and there's volume 1 and 2. And that's a fantastic book. If you have not read that, I highly encourage you to do that. I don't get any money from that.
There's so much stuff I don't get money for, but I'm encouraging people to do it. And I know everything's tight for people, so I'm trying to figure out ways to get them things that I want them to start to read and utilize for free. So I'm going to do my best on that. I wish I got paid for certain things, But I'm going to say, Mark Eddy, on behalf of Mark Eddy and myself, we really do appreciate you coming on. I knew it was going to be multiple shows. Usually when you first meet somebody, there's going to be like the introduction phase, right? And then we're going to get into the next one the next time you're coming on. So I'll probably hit you up in a couple months and have you come back if you're available. I'd love to meet you in person. And if I have to go visit my brother, I will just stop by.
Now, I may be an alternate speaker at the New York conference this year.
When is the New York conference?
I believe it's the first weekend of October.
Oh, where in New York is it? Is it that Whitehall one?
It's in upstate. I can't remember the name of the town. It was
Whitehall.
I was unfamiliar with it.
It's
near Whitehall. Yeah, it wasn't Whitehall.
Yeah,
but
I know the conference. That is a hell of an area for Bigfoot. I've been up there several times. And up there is a Skinwalker Ranch type of place. I have videos blow your mind. But the woman's like, she's telling me, she goes, you got to tell them they need to leave. And I'm like, lady, if I had that much power, I wouldn't be yielding it at that level. But yeah, it's incredible. This is Karl Sup. And before we go, I thank Mark Eddy all the time for being here. He's a wonderful human being and just a great guy. Karl, you're amazing. But I want to thank the people that stopped by to support the show. So P&L Podcast, I love you guys. Thank you so very much. We got the half-inch wrench crew with the support there too. Terry Mosby, thank you for your support. Terry's going to be on next week. We're doing
next Wednesday. I'm looking forward to that one.
CE5 Wednesday. I hope somebody gets abducted, not me, unless I can get tax IDs for my alien children. No. Thank you very much for your support.
And we didn't even get into my UFO stuff either.
I know we're gonna have to do a little bit more Bigfoot and then go into remote viewing, and then we're gonna go into the UFOs. Wherever you want. See, this is what it is. Wherever you want to go, I'm open because first of all, there's a connection to all of it, but we'll get into that too. So, and Yeti Audio Labs, Super Gator Eye, I appreciate you. Yes, we're working on that. Got Diane Boss again. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. We got the half-inch wrench crew and the half-inch wrench crew's bosses.
Thank you.
Right there, the haunted wrench crew. These ladies are great. Go check out their channel here on YouTube. Amazing stuff that they're doing. Appreciate everybody. Thank you again, everybody, for coming in. I have no idea where I'm looking at this point. Blessings to all. Peace, love, harmony, happiness, or as I usually say, prayers, healing, recovery, blessings sent to everybody. God bless. And we will see you next time. And maybe you'll all get abducted. And everybody can do the CE5. You don't have to, watch the show, but you can also put your cameras, you can watch it outside and say, yeah, I'm seeing a UFO, and we'll figure it out. But bye, everybody.
You, it's always been you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I've seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you. True love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I will give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. I love you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I have seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you, true love is you. Love is you, true love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I would give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you.